Kristen, it's very kind of you to invite me here and have me speak in front of our guests. I guess I'm pressing the button here to the right. Okay. Okay, so welcome everybody. That's a very nice introduction. Thank you, Kristen. This is just a brief overview of what I'll be speaking about tonight. I'll be talking about title insurance. Okay, why do we need it? Why do we need title insurance? Talk a little bit about corporations. Why should we use them? And I'll talk a little bit about asset protection strategies. Okay, just initially, what is title insurance? So title insurance is a particular type of insurance, and it insures against financial losses from defects in title to real property, from the invalidity or unenforceability of mortgages. So that's pretty much what the title insurance does. It protects the individual from financial losses or defects in title to real property. It's meant to protect an owner against loss due to title defects, liens, or other matters. That's primarily what it does. Is it protects against title defects or liens. Title defects essentially means somebody coming onto the land, or someone giving you notice and saying, hey, you know what? That land doesn't really belong to the person that you're buying it from. It belongs to me, or it belongs to my grandfather or my uncle. That's a potential title defect. And a lien is another form of dispute against title. Essentially, the title insurance that you buy will defend against lawsuit attacking the title. It'll either defend against the lawsuit, or it will reimburse actual monetary loss that occurs from these potential title defects and liens. All right, a little bit
of temporary holding.
Excuse me.
Title insurance, is that a temporary? I mean, the category you're talking about, is that
what we're
temporary?
Is what temporary?
The insurance factor.
No, it's not.
Once you carry it through the property,
your title insurance, you buy a title insurance policy, and the policy is yours until you sell it, or it's yours until for however long you own the property. Okay, so just a little bit of a brief history lesson on what title insurance is. The first title insurance case, this is prior to the actual invention of title insurance. Buyers in real estate transactions, they bore the sole responsibility of ensuring the validity of the land title held by the seller. So if the title was later deemed invalid or found to be fraudulent, the buyer lost his investment. He lost all the money that he's invested. That's prior to title insurance. Well, in 1868, there was a case of Watson versus Muirhead. Okay, and this was heard by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Essentially, plaintiff Watson, he was a real estate investor, just like all of us intend to be or are, and he invested in a particular property, and there was a prior lien on the property. Okay, and the defendant who conveyed the property, he discovered the lien prior to the sale, and he told the buyer about this potential problem, and this was disclosed to the attorney, and the attorney opined that it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a valid lien. We don't need to worry about it. Okay, the attorney analyzed the lien, analyzed the merits of the issues, and opined that it was not a valid lien. Well, as it turned out, there was a lawsuit involving that lien, and the court ruled that the seller was not liable for the mistakes based on professional opinions, and as a result, the buyer, he lost the property, he lost his position here against this lien. Okay, this is why is title insurance important to all of us? And this is specifically the reason, is because we're buying land. We're not buying regular property. When we buy regular property, for example, a Rolex watch, or a candy bar at a store, or a sandwich, or a bicycle, or any other thing that we buy, we go and we take possession of the item. Okay, and that's what's very different with buying land. When you buy land, you know, you're not going to carry the dirt with you wherever you go. You're buying a piece of land, a piece of real estate. It's a little bit different. And essentially what you're buying is you're buying title to the land, and the title is expressed on the deed, and the deed is recorded in the county clerk's office. Okay, and that's why you need title insurance, is because you can't just carry this thing around. You don't know if there's some other deeds floating around out there. You don't know if there's some other people that may have claims against the land. All you see is just a piece of land, maybe land or a house. If there's no house, it could be just some grass. Who knows? That's why it's important to invest in title insurance, and we'll get into a few specific examples. Also, you want to ensure a valuable investment. I mean, you know, if you buy a Porsche, you're buying a car and you take possession of it. It's a significant investment. Here, you buy a piece of land or you buy a home. It's generally very expensive, quite valuable, and you want to make sure that you don't lose your money. You want to make sure that you're buying something from the rightful owner. Okay, that's why it's a very valuable investment, and it warrants insuring the transaction. Now, past versus future. What exactly are you insuring with title insurance? Essentially, most insurance policies that you buy, for example, life insurance or homeowners insurance, you're generally insuring the future. Okay, if, God forbid, if a person dies, he has a life insurance policy, just in case in the future, some future event. Or if you have homeowners insurance, if your home gets swept away in a flood or a hurricane, that's some future potential event. With title insurance, you're really just insuring the past. Essentially, you're ensuring that the person that you're buying this from actually owns the property. That's what you're insuring. And if you invest your $100,000 or $1 million into a piece of real estate, and the person that you buy it from doesn't actually own it, or there's significant issues with precisely who may own the property, that's what you're insuring. You're insuring the past. Chain of title is kind of the way title insurance works. Is you know, the attorney and the underwriter, they analyze the chain of title, and that could go back to, you know, treaties amongst different countries. That could go back to all sorts of different deals among states, municipalities, and we analyze the chain of title from one seller to a buyer, to the next buyer, to the next buyer, to the next buyer, until we have the most previous buyer, who then sells it, who's now the seller and sells it to the new buyer. That's the chain of title. Generally, that's evidenced through the recording process. Titles, land titles, deeds, they're recorded at the county clerk. So we could see from the original Indian who owned the land and transferred it to the United States through some treaty, and then the United States transferred it to various states, whatever it might be, and then, you know, sold it or granted it to individual people or corporations, etc. We're able to see the different deeds and titles through the recording process. Now, the recording process goes back to ancient times. I mean,